Hello, hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. I am Sandi Ballard, your host, the Badass Business Coach, as I've been called many times. And thanks for following me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, all that, LinkedIn, and Growing Forward Success Coaching is my Facebook page. Thank you for sharing the podcasts with others, for sharing your comments and feedback, and for listening. And, that is what I do, help people find their badassness. Where's yours? Do you know? Perhaps it's popped its little head out here and there. Your badass light has shined briefly during moments. Perhaps you had to give a talk or a presentation and you were nervous about it. Maybe you're new to your job or your position at your company and you had to lead a meeting and it was great. Maybe you ran a race and nailed your time. Or perhaps cooking a meal for guests and you really don't consider yourself a good cook. Whatever it was, how'd you feel at that moment? Did you feel badass? Think back about one of those times. Imagine, or we've all probably watched a gymnast. Maybe one of you listeners is a gymnast or former gymnast, whatever. You think about a time when that gymnast nailed their landing, or do they call it sticking a landing? You know what I mean? You could see it on their face. Their badassness was shining. They're like, yeah, damn, I nailed that. It's great. In last week's podcast, I talked about changing your mindset. When you're in that tailspin of negativity, like I was last weekend, after perhaps your badassness was hiding, your freaking car didn't start, again like mine. Maybe you lost a client or a project, or people were being crotchety versus helpful. Whatever caused you to go there, that whole badassness, you just didn't feel very badass, did you? It was hiding. I also, in last week's podcast, shared what helped me snap out of my just spin of negativity and how that one activity helped me shift my mindset. And if you didn't listen to podcast 166, go back and listen to it, all right? So once I pulled myself out of it, it helped me. So did you do that activity? And think about a time when you've come out of a funk. Your badassness showed itself again. Yes, sometimes only for a brief moment, and other times for weeks on end or months, who knows? That saying, I guess people wouldn't appreciate the sun without the rain, the bad without the good, the good without the bad. We don't want to appreciate the bad. And I totally agree. That sucks that we have to have the opposite, the negative part, to be really grateful and appreciate the positive. However, we also need to change our mindsets about that. That whole concept. When things are going great, wondering, when's the other shoe going to drop? Sometimes we get so used to things going wrong and not knowing how to find our badassness that we're constantly in the mindset of wondering when. I have two clients that I'm going to refer to. One has just said recently, things have been great for her. She's doubled her clients from last year, doubled her clients, doubled her income. Everything is great. And that's exactly what she says. Everything is really great, period. And then I have some other clients, a company that I've been working with, and they have had just a shitstorm. It's just been going on for a while. We get one department or one person figured out and something else goes on. And so they're having a hard time shifting from that mindset, shifting their mindset that when's the other shoe going to drop? So they're stuck in that things are good now, but, so you got to look at all that and think through, how can you stop looking over your shoulder, wondering what's next in a negative context? It's hard to break that habit. It's like watching a scary movie, wondering what's lurking around the corner. Again, shift the mindset. Life isn't going to be fun and games 100%, but if you're sporting your badassness, it can help you weather any shitstorm that hits. I promise you that. And this all ties in with the conversation about complacency. Yes, you're going to focus on the good, the things you're positive about, like in that last week's podcast and that activity that I posted throughout last week. You're going to focus on those things and those moments that you stuck the landing. You're going to review that list and keep building upon it. So those brief moments of badassness start stringing together until they become a constant way of living. And also, when you're not feeling so badass, read that list. Or perhaps have someone read it to you. There you go. That sounds scary, doesn't it? Yes, write the list and hand it over. Hand it over to me. Email me at sballard@growingforward.biz. Better yet, post it for all the world to see. Or give it to a friend or a colleague that when they see you and not feeling so badass, or perhaps you just admit, I'm not feeling it today. They can break out that list, or I can, or someone can. They break out that list and read it to you. And then you can feel it again. You can remember those good times, those badass times, and it will help you it'll help you pop out of that and think more positively. Okay? So this week, it's all about how to keep your edge. And that's exactly how to keep your edge when things are good. And I talked about that. How do you keep your edge when things are good and you're wondering? By keeping that badass list in front of you, by keeping your badassness top of mind, you're going to keep your edge and you're going to avoid getting complacent. All right? So this is me helping you realize your badassness by seeing how badass you already are. Have a great week. I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.